What's going on, guys? So, something that I never did for my smart home that I did on video is I did a camera system. So I did the EZFIX camera system. I've got 4 cameras around the house and I've got the EZFIX home base thing, and it's been going really well. But after buying that, I noticed very quickly that I don't really like the battery version because they die really quick, especially if you link it to your home kit. And especially if, now that I have a dog, every time we go in the backyard, camera notification, camera notification, camera notification, drains the battery super quick, birds go by. It drains the battery way quicker than if it was just a wired camera. So I got wired cameras. So these that I got here are from EZFIX. Obviously rebranded, you can see there's a sticker under there. But it is a set of like 8 cameras, and it also has a DVR. So this top one is a DVR, so everything that gets recorded in here goes to the DVR, and it's a whole terabyte, so you're basically never gonna run out as long as you get rid of stuff. Plus you can, upgrade it later if you want to. Anyway, so I've got that and a ridiculous amount of cameras, and I gotta figure out how to mount those too, so that's another situation I gotta deal with. All right, so this is the DVR and all the accessories in the box. Excuse the noise because someone is enjoying the box. Anywho, all right, so here is the box itself. This is what records all your stuff. You've got the 3 lights up front. You've got a little USB port because they include an adorable little mouse so you can do stuff. You've got an HDMI cable, a very short Ethernet cable, and a power brick. So let's get the other stuff. All right, and these are the other 2 boxes. So you have all of your cameras up here and all of the crazy amount of wiring that you'll need. So at least for our house, if we have it up on the outside and we hook it up to our ceiling, it's all gonna have to be routed to a main location to wherever this is going to be so we can hook it up. Alrighty, so this is a lot of wires. Let's figure out how this goes. So this is the camera. You have the 3 mounting points, so if you want to mount it directly on something, you can. I've noticed that you have an area here on the back for the cable to be routed up, so you can do a flush mount. But the camera isn't, it is now, but the camera's not perfectly up and down when you have it like this. So if you want that routed straight up into your ceiling, it does have this little collar. You see how I have it adjusted here. If you loosen this collar up, which is hard to do because I tightened it way too much. If you loosen this collar up, this whole thing will move. You loosen this collar up, now this whole thing can rotate, and then you just tighten the collar up to where you want it to stop, and then you tighten it up so you can have it mounted upside down, left or right. And then of course you have your pivot points here. You do have to get a screwdriver for that one, which is a little weird, but I haven't touched that one yet. So that's the camera system that we have up. And then you've got 2 little ports here. The red one is for your power, and the yellow one is to connect all of your camera goodness. This little guy here is a splitter for power. So yeah, this is all gonna be so much fun. So let's see, we'll get 4 cameras plugged into each one of these, and then this will get plugged into, I believe, one of these. We'll get everything set up out here before we actually install it to make sure it works, because that would be a really crappy thing to get everything set up and then figure out that something's broken or wrong. Let's do it the smart way. All right, I think I figured this out. Instructions, not totally clear, as always. So we've got the camera, and it splits down into 2. It's got the yellow and the red. We know the red is power, so the yellow is gonna go into the blue, and the red's gonna go into the red of this big spool of cables. So this is one end you can see, that's connected, and then the other end, which is these, one's gonna go into the back of the DVR, and the other one is gonna go into the splitter. So here we have the splitter. So once we get a set of 4 cameras hooked up all the same way, so we'll get this full first top row, or I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, because I don't know that's how they count. All of those will get connected to this one, which goes to one of these. The DVR itself has its own power brick that comes with it. So this is the 12 volt. I've got that sitting over here. That'll be in one, and then the other one will be in another outlet. So I'll do 4 cameras. I'll get 4 cameras set up like this, and then I have to figure out, I'll get a little monitor to hook up HDMI, and then hook up the mouse. The only downside is this is the Ethernet cable. That does not easily hook up to my router unless I put it directly next to my router. I think I have a long one somewhere. All right, it may look messy, but I think I got it set up. So all 4 of the cameras hooked up just like how I said. So red on red, and then the yellow on blue goes to its chunk, and then goes to wherever the heck. Oh, here's the splitter. So all the power goes into the splitter. I've still yet to plug it in. So this one goes to our little DVR here. This one goes to the cameras. And then I've got my little tiny monitor here, which I have hooked up HDMI and its own little power source. So that should be everything. Let's see how this works. All right, just got everything plugged in. Oh, there we go. We've got a signal. We also got all the cameras flashed as soon as I plugged them in. So let's see. Everything is really short right now, so I can't do a whole lot about that in the way. Go away. There we go. So let's figure out what the heck to do, because I think this is the confusing part. Because at least, oh my God, they actually show up. It's amazing. It just works. Now to set everything up, pretty much this entire book is showing you how to set everything up, and the camera setup, which I think is the hardest part, is just this page. So this sucks. Hopefully it's not too hard. Look at that. Wait, hold on. Okay, so camera 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's go camera 1. Look at that live feed. Oh, we're in the future. Let's see how good it is. I don't think there's any... No, I don't think there's any thing over it. You do have this to protect the glossiness, but there's nothing over the lens itself. So I think that's fine. Let's see how good the resolution is. It's pretty darn good. It's supposed to be 1080p. It's not the absolute clearest, but it's definitely clear enough to see things. What do you think, doggo? No? I've got the suspect. Run. You have no idea what's going on, do you? So the first thing it does once you hit that is it asks for you to scan those things so you can set up the cloud stuff. It's also in the little booklet for the QR code. So we're gonna skip that for now. And yeah, now we get into the fun stuff. All right, so after the little setup thing, I guess that's just for your Ethernet hooking up to the cloud and whatnot, so you can do that on your computer. It kind of takes you back here. The instruction says there's supposed to be a main menu. If you right click and you can hit main menu, oh God, this is hard, left hand. And then it'll ask for the username and password, and that'll be in your little booklet, which I'm looking at now. I guess I'll have to set that up later. I guess I'll set that up now. All right, once you set that up, you get to your main menu. Now you don't need a keyboard like I thought I did. You just hit the little ABC button and it pops up a little keyboard on screen, and then you just type it in. So once you right click and you come in here, you can go through all of these different things and do your setup. I just went into system and went into general and make sure that all of my stuff is set up right for at least the time codes and the time of everything. You can go into network, you can go into record and actually go into playback, and you'll be able to see, like right here, this little green part, that was when I was moving the cameras around. There it goes. So you can, it's playing the playback right now. We right click to go back, and you can set up record times. So if you want them to record only during the day or blah, 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 you can set that up here. but I need to play around with this a little bit more to figure out what is what.
All right, so if you want to get the app started, there's not really a whole lot of instructions on it. So you'll open up the app. It's called RView Pro. And once you have it opened up, I tried the local login and that really didn't work for me. So if you go down to the very bottom, it says register. So click on that register button and then it will open up this. So you'll create your username, password, and then the password again, your email address, and then you'll hit register. And there we go. And once we register, you'll be set to this page. This will be your live preview page once everything is all set up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click in the upper left-hand corner with the little hamburger thing, and we're going to hit device management. And now you can see I have my device on here, and I've already got this set up, but all you have to do to get it is you have to add the device. And once you're in here, you can see that you have a few different options. So we'll go over here into the IP, and you have to put in the port, your IP address if you want to. This is where you put all the information so it can link to the one that you already have on your DVR that you'll be able to see on there. And I'll show you guys how to do that once we actually have the DVR. And once we have all that set up, you'll hit one of those blank spots and you can see the device picks up here. If you select the one at the top, it'll select all of them. You can also select separate ones, but of course I want to see all of them. So now it pops up the device that you set it towards. You can see my fingers right there. Now we can see all of the cameras that we selected.
So if you want to get to that point, just get on right click, and then you're going to go to main menu. Once you're here, you're going to go to system, you're going to click on network, and then you're going to go, this is where your IP address is, and you'll also see mobile port. That's where you'll find both of those when you want to get this on your phone so you can view it remotely. All right, so now that we know the cameras work, now we need to get them mounted. So I think all the newer homes have this style of vinyl siding and plastic. So I'm sure everyone does, I want my wires to go up through here so you don't have to see the wires. They just kind of go straight up here, and then all of these will go into the attic, which will then go into whichever room in the house I'm gonna have the DVR into. So the first thing I need to do is figure out where I'm gonna mount it. So obviously I can't mount it here, but I do have cool little things that fit onto the existing vinyl paneling, which are these guys. I'll go ahead and link them down below. Basically all they do is they come up here and they hook underneath, and then you can mount stuff onto it. So if you look at the back of our camera, we've got a place for the wire to come up. So that's gonna be it going straight up, and then I've got two holes next to each other. So that's what I'm gonna use for both of these. So I'll get two out of here. All right, so you can see that I have one on here, and these are the ones, they just come up under here. You just kind of hook it in and put it down, and right, just like that, it's super secure. We just have to figure out what the distance is between those two from these two holes, and then be able to line it up there, and with the included screws, just screw it onto that, and just like that, it's gonna be up. All right, and as you guys can see, I've got the screw put in through that, which is then through there. So this is not gonna be going anywhere with the wind blowing and whatnot. So next up is gotta make sure this is tilted upright. So I want it upright like so. Tighten down the collar. Might have to see it tilted a little bit. Might have to tilt it a little bit one way, and then tighten it the other way. Just get it right. It's hard to do with one hand. But then I've got to undo these so it can be tilted down, so I can get that. So I kind of have to screw around with it a little bit more so it's actually pointed this way, like towards the camera, instead of just straight out at my neighbor's house. All right, so let's go over the points of adjustment, because this took me a minute and I thought I had to do a different mounting setup than what I had. So this first screw here, as you can see, when it comes out, it's got little teeth. So you can move the camera along this axis and then tighten it up and it locks. You also have this, which is the collar, so you can rotate it. And then this one up here, if you'd like to, you can take it out. You can see there's a little screw up in there. This, you can loosen it up, and you can also rotate it on this axis, so this one's not in your way. So there's different points So the way I have it set up like this, I wanted it to be pointed down the house. So I could only do so much. I could tilt it up and down, but I couldn't tilt it the way that I wanted to. But with this second point of adjustment, now I can. So before I was just trying to get it to point down, and all I could do was tilt it like this, but then the camera would be sideways. So if you loosen up that second screw, you can actually tilt it on that axis to make it point straight up and down, so you're not looking at all your feeds like this. All right, so now that I have it how I want to, nice and solid, now we need to get the wires up through the soffit here. So everyone has different types, and for me, this is just what I have. I don't know what type this is, but this isn't attached to anything. It's not nailed down. It's not whatever. It's just sitting between here and under here. So the best way I found is to kind of grab this and bend it back. It's metal, so you can bend it through a little bit. I've got my little clip here, my pick. So if I can just grab it here and slowly kind of push it down while bending this down a little bit, it'll pop through and give me an opening. And another way of doing this is, depending on how much room you have, you can put the wires up here, pull this back for enough room, and kind of squeeze the wires back up there and push them up, because this goes straight up into the attic. You know, at least I don't have any sort of board up here. It just goes straight up. This is just air flow through the attic. And the other one is, if you look up here, you can see there's absolutely nothing. This is flush. But if you keep going until you find one of these, then you know that it can be split apart. So if you get those two, and I just kind of like push them together really, really hard, you can see when I did over here, they come apart. So if they come apart like that, then you can come straight up in here. You can feed the wires up that way, route them back here, take the whole thing off if you need to. It really depends on how yours is set up, but now that I have access, I'm just gonna squeeze these wires up through here, tuck them down here, clip this back on. So it's basically like, here's the little clip, and this part is a U on the inside that's facing the other way like that. It'll just clip back in there, so I just have to stretch it back over this way. All right, so this is my setup until I do build a little shelf on here for the DVR. And honestly, I don't need this in here. All of this, because I have it connected to my little Wi-Fi extender, this is connected to the internet, so I can get it off my phone, or if I want to, I can stream it on really any device, because it's through the internet, it's through the cloud. Easy enough. So this is my final setup. I can see all my cameras that I currently have set up. I still have a few more, but I wanted to just show you guys. I've got the angles that I wanted. Everything was set up the way I want it, and I can stream this to my phone just like the Eufy one before, and now this is constantly recording. So if something happens that's the downside of the Eufy. If it doesn't pick up motion, something runs across real quick, like a dragon comes across and you're like, I saw a dragon, and then you go to check it out on your cameras and it never recorded because it didn't detect motion. Not with these. I could see the dragon.